Well, hello there, and welcome to another Music Ally Focus with me, Music Ally's editor, Joe Sparrow. And in just a moment, I'll be speaking to Jeronimo Folgueira, CEO of music streaming platform Deezer, about his thoughts on the state of music streaming, some blunt words for the way the music industry needs to evolve and work with streaming platforms, and how Deezer is going to try and differentiate itself from other DSPs in the same space. Now, Music Ally provides an analysis-rich guide to the biz, and each Music Ally Focus episode analyzes one meaningful music business story at a time. This podcast is going to be brief as well. It's only 1.7% of the time that Ulla Vindel and Edvin Bergsten spent playing chess underwater. They spent a marathon total of 25 hours, 14 minutes playing chess in a swimming pool in Gothenburg in 2013. Now, talking of making strategic moves in a high-pressure environment, Jeronimo Folgueira has now been in the job of CEO of Deezer for 9 months, and we thought it was a good time to check in and see how it was going. Jeronimo has an interesting perspective on the music streaming business. Before joining Deezer in June 2021, he was CEO of Spark Networks, a company that owns a number of well-known dating apps, and where he successfully oversaw the company's listing on the New York Stock Exchange and the rapid growth of Spark Networks. So we wanted to speak to him about the current and future strategy for Deezer and also get his thoughts on the state of music streaming today. He explained the various ways that he thinks that the streaming business can better serve artists and fans, including building more ways of buying and selling and connecting inside streaming apps, and how the relationships between the streaming platforms that he says saved the music industry and the major labels could improve, and how they will face the changing relationship between fans and artists, with streaming apps, as he sees it, as the intermediary between the two. We had a great chat, so let's go straight over to that conversation now. So we're really grateful to welcome Jeronimo Folgueira, CEO of Deezer, to the Music Ally podcast. Hi, Jeronimo.
Hello.
We're going to have a chat about what's happening at Deezer at the moment and talk about current and future strategies for the streaming platform, and also looking a bit at the music streaming space while we do it. But first of all, let's have a bit of a catch-up on what's happening at Deezer. You've been CEO at Deezer for about 9 months now.
Right.
Gestation period is over. So what's your feeling of what's happening there? And what have you noticed in the sort of trends of the wider streaming space? And what are your focuses at Deezer?
So that's a great question. Since I joined, I've been looking into Deezer really deeply and the overall music streaming industry. And I see a lot of really potentials. When I look at Deezer, it's a fantastic company with a great product. And you can see that because we're really strong in France, where we have about a third of the market. We're really big in Brazil, where we have almost 20% share of subscribers. So we have a product that works really well. However, we haven't managed to get big enough in some of the other large markets. And that's what I'm trying to figure out, what is the most efficient way for us to expand beyond the current footprint. Because we have a really great competitive product. We just need to get it out into more markets with decent market share. And that has been really my focus. And then trying to find what does the customers usually need? Because I've been running digital businesses for more than 10 years now. And it's all about the customers at the end. Like, what do they want and what do they need? And the customers don't need a fifth access to the same music catalog. What people need is a better experience and something unique. And I was quite surprised to find in the whole industry that this industry is dominated by really large global tech companies. And with the exception of Spotify, that really started as music streaming, all the others, music is basically a side business. They all they use music for a larger purpose. And it's never going to be their true passion. And then Spotify, which was really the synonym of music streaming in most of the world, just like Deezer, is moving more and more into podcast. And I think that really leaves a great space for Deezer to become the true home of music. We are passionate about music. Our core business is music, and we always choose music. And that's where, when I start looking into where Deezer stands today, Also, I see it in markets like France or Brazil. We're very strong with local genres. In France, we're the number one source of income for French artists. In Brazil, we become the home of Foro, Santarejo. We're really the champions of the local genres. And we will always be the ones that are passionate about music, passionate about local music, working with local artists, up-and-coming talent. And I'm trying to build really a true home of music, which I think the world and the industry actually needs. Also, I'm looking into ways of how can we monetize music more. Coming also from outside the industry, I find that everyone is still a bit too focused on the old days of 20 years ago on piracy. And there's a lot of fear rather than kind of thinking more about embracing the future. And I think we need to start thinking more ways of how to improve monetization of music. And obviously, one of the problems is when you have like the big tech giants that music is not their core business. This is not kind of what they focus on because they want to use music to get you in their ecosystem to sell you something else and make money with something else. But if you really care about music and the artist, you start looking into basically we have never consumers and the world, we have never consumed as much music as we do today in quantities and quality. And we never paid as little as we actually pay today. So I think there's a lot of ways for us to think, how can we actually make the industry, and it starts with streaming, better for monetizing music and growing the industry and allowing artists to make a living. And for all of these things, I think Deezer has really a key role to play, and that's where I'm focusing on. And the same way that Spotify chooses podcasts over music whenever they have the chance, we will always choose music, and we will become the true home of music.
If you've come in from the outside of the music streaming world with huge experience across wider digital industries, and so you're looking at not only one platform, but the wider ecosystem with maybe slightly different eyes. Where do you see room for improvement and innovation across music streaming, maybe specifically at Deezer, but in the wider ecosystem, around bringing new forms of income in? Because at the moment, the income system around music is based essentially on the same music licensing system of royalties that has been around for quite a long time. Exactly,
forever. The model is in a way a bit obsolete, so you need to start thinking outside of the box. Having run different digital businesses in other industries, I'm kind of shocked that all we have to offer to people is a $9.99 a month subscription. You know, there's very little choice or options or alternatives. Even if people wanted to pay more for better experiences of all kinds, we don't actually offer that. So I think there's a way of having different offers, different packaging, different accesses at different price points to really maximize. Like we're selling basically only one product at one price point, which is very limiting, and it's probably not even what the consumers want. And there's also a lot of ways of expanding. So back in the days, we offer access to the whole music catalog on live streaming, and that was revolutionary. Now the people have access to the catalog. There's several players like Deezer, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, where you can have that. What is next, and how can we bring the consumers? Because we are the platform that has the consumers and the fans. So how can we get the fans and the artists to connect and kind of build that bridge for more opportunities for everybody? That's where we started to explore live streaming. We made a couple of investments on Drift and DreamStage to bring live streaming and allow artists to not only do concerts and sell tickets, but also do virtual concerts and then reach a global audience, and also reach a global audience live, but also on replays. So they can then find a way of selling that ticket and those experiences longer. Also, coming from e-commerce, when I see the artist pages on the DSPs, it's basically a list of your tracks you hit to play. That is an amazing real estate, to sell merchandising, NFTs, all kind of stuff. So I would love to explore more. What can we do to give artists access to those pages where they can sell more stuff to their fans? It's valuable for the fans, it's valuable for the artists, it's valuable for us as a platform. Everybody wins. So I'm starting to kind of look outside of the box and challenging kind of the status quo and say there's all these opportunities out there that we're just not grabbing. And the other thing I noticed also coming from outside of the industry is that there is a bit of a tension between labels and DSPs. It's kind of we're all enemies in a way. And at the end of the day, I think we have to work together. Yes, there's always going to be tension about how much royalties do we pay. So, and who basically takes what cut of the revenues. But at the end of the day, we're selling the music with them. So we have the customers that actually pay. They have the artists that actually produce the content. And at the end of the day, we're part of the same chain. And if we work together on finding ways of innovating and creating more value, we all win. So instead of fighting on the royalties percentage and this and that, and having an army of lawyers in each side trying to control everything through contracts, I think it would be more healthy to sit together and say, well, how can we actually create more value for everybody? And then we can fight to see who shares what. But we need to create more value in the first instance instead of just trying to fight for a share of what we currently have, because there's a lot more to be created in this industry. It's still in very early days.
When music streaming was introduced, which is nearly 20 years ago now, which is frightening, the opportunity to pay one flat fee per month and access all of music was incredibly innovative. But now it's normal. There was a period, maybe only just 2 years ago, maybe, when music streaming apps were suffering from the sort of the black rectangle problem. They were all a black rectangle with square, colourful album art in it, and they all looked the same and did the same thing. And the real estate of those artist pages really is a valuable space. And you can offer all these other services, some of which have really exploded in the last 2 years, perhaps accelerated because of the coronavirus situation, live streaming being one, NFTs being another, but also other things around the shift of fans who want to support their artists in different ways by buying merchandise, by buying vinyl, by doing these things that are supportive outside of that $9.99 a month subscription. So do you know how you may sort of take those first steps of differentiating the artist page experience? Do you have a sort of roadmap of what you might plug in to there first? And you spoke as well about that sort of the slight conflict between DSPs and major labels. What do you think the response of those people might be when you say, oh, well, we're going to start monetizing artists in different ways within the app, but it's not really around the music?
So there's several elements to the question. The first one is we're looking into a lot of different options and ideas. And I was amazed when I joined Deezer by the amount of ideas the team has. I rarely been in a company where the people have so many cool ideas. It's quite fascinating. And that really excites me. And given my background, I always put the customer first, and I love A/B testing. So I think it's difficult. No one will actually know the answer. You have to try different things, A/B test it, find out what the customers actually want and like, and then you take it from there. So it's a lot of trial and error, and data-driven. You just have to you have to try stuff until you find what the customers actually want and need. But that's the approach that I want to bring, and there's a lot of really cool ideas in the pipeline already for us. The other part, what you said about the relationship with the majors, about monetizing in different ways. Ultimately, my view is that if there's money to be made, rational businesses will usually do it. No one will leave money on the table because we can agree. So I think if we can build the case that there is money in one way or the other, then we will always find a way. Actually, when the DSP started, even Deezer back then, it was all illegal pirated streams. There was no deals with the majors. They were suing us. It was really a mess. But we effectively saved the music industry. Music streaming saved music. And at the beginning, they wanted to sue us. They wanted to shut us down. They thought that we were basically the last nail in the coffin. And we turned out to be the lifesaver of the industry. Yeah. And that's where I'm really kind of surprised by the industry, because it's an industry based on fear and lack of trust. Like no one seems to trust anybody here, and everyone is afraid. Everyone is in fear. And when you are in fear, you make wrong decisions, and you cannot innovate. You cannot think outside of the box. I come from industries where we're trying to think outside of the box all the time, reinvent yourself, try new things, figure out new things. It's let it be, find out what can we do. Music, and especially music, the artists, the content we sell is produced by some of the most creative people. Music by definition is creative, it's innovating, it's finding new stuff. And then the whole industry behaves in a very conservative, different way. In a way, a lot of the people I met in the industry feels more like people should be in oil and gas. It's kind of like, it's just embrace that fun, cool. Let's do amazing things together, and then we'll figure it out. It's just go with the music, and that's a bit of the attitude I would like to bring. Build kind of those bridges and trust with the majors, with the artists, and see where we can take this. And I'm quite keen of having Deezer becoming a key player and a key role in that transformation. I want Deezer to be at the forefront of innovation. I want to be the partner for everyone that is doing amazing music content or experiences, and take it to the next level. And let's innovate together.
One of the potential innovations that Deezer has been very outspoken about in wanting to do is the user-centric payment system, or something like a user-centric payment system where the money is divided differently.
The money that you pay goes to the people that you listen to.
That you actually listen to, as opposed to on a pro rata basis.
Exactly. I was actually thinking a lot about that in the last weeks with the whole Neil Young controversy with the Spotify, with all the users deleting Spotify and going to different DSPs. But the Neil Young listeners usually do not stream that much. And then the money that they pay, then they can switch platforms, fine. But then the money that they pay will probably end up in BTS pockets. It's just the way it is, because K-pop gets a lot more streams. So the system is structurally broken. And when I said earlier, music streaming saved the music industry, and that is true. We found ways of monetizing and bringing money back to the industry. On the other hand, because the way the pools work, we kind of help the large artists and the people that get massive streams. But in a way, we make the income of the mid-tier artist a lot worse. There's a small artist that will never make a living out of music. It has always been the case. There's millions of people creating music. But there is a tier that could make a living out of music. And in the past, they could sell 2,000, 10,000 CDs, and then they get the profit from that. Now those 10,000 fans will pay $10.99 a month, but their money will end up going to BTS. So I think the model will help, especially that mid-tier of artists that need that income.
Just to gently interrupt here, if you're finding this conversation useful and you desire a little bit more of trusted analysis from Music Ally waiting for you in your inbox every morning, you can head on over to musically.com/subscribe. There's a link somewhere around this podcast. Indie labels, artist managers, employees of CMOs or publishers may be eligible for one of Music Ally's sponsored complimentary subscriptions as well. Okay, let's go back to Jeronimo. Artists are proactively seeking out new ways to bring income from their fans, which is partly to do with the coronavirus pandemic and the restrictions from it, but also because artists are being more aware of opportunities that they have in terms of income streams. Fans also seem to be very keen to do this as well. They want to support these artists in new, innovative ways. DSPs and platforms like Deezer are where people go to support their artist in the form of playing their music. But they can't really interact with those artists very much. They can play the music, they can share the music. I'm not trying to say, should DSPs become a social network for music, because those are cursed words, okay? But what other things can DSPs do to become that place for engagement for fans?
Well, that's exactly what I'm starting to look into at the moment, because I completely share your view that the artists and the fans need to interact a lot more. And we are the platform where the fans are and the fans come to consume the music. So it's the obvious place. And it would make more sense for fans to interact with artists, for artists to interact with their fans on the Deezer platform than on Instagram or Facebook or any other platform. So we are starting to explore ways in which we can increase that kind of connectivity or social interaction, especially between artists and fans, and also between fans themselves. But make it in a way that is worthwhile. Because I always say, like, the world doesn't need another social platform, social network platform, but the fans do need a place to kind of get together and interact with artists. That would be valuable. So whatever we do has to have value for the fans and the consumers. But I share with you that there is space there, and it's a great way for the artists to monetize. When you look at a lot of the Asian apps, there's a lot about the tipping economy, where people do live streaming and then they get tips and things like that. It's becoming quite big, and I see no reason why we cannot replicate that for the artist.
Your background is working with industries and digital apps that connect people, and the artist-fan relationship is a really important, close, intimate relationship. So is there anything you can bring to Deezer that sort of enhances that?
Yes, I have a lot of experience building that those social connections, and that's where I completely see the value and the benefit of building something like that. The thing is that all of these things do take time. So as you said at the beginning, I've been just for 9 months. So in a way, kind of giving birth to the new Deezer and starting to explore a lot of these ideas. And that's why I feel extremely optimistic about the future, because when I see a company like Deezer, the opportunities are endless. And especially when we become really the home of music and we focus on becoming really the partner for the music industry. And all of our competitors are basically moving away from music and using music to drive some other part of their business.
Finally, then, as you look ahead to the next 12 months, what excites you most about the music streaming space?
What excites me the most, I think, is really that there's still a lot of growth ahead, a lot of growth and a lot of potential, and especially for Deezer in particular. And in our case, we're entering Germany really big with a partnership with RTL. So Germany will become our second largest market and really another big leg of our business. And I'm extremely excited about replicating in Germany the success we had in France and Brazil. So that really excites me about the year ahead. I would be more than happy to talk to you again in a year's time.
We'll see where we're at. So Jeronimo, thank you ever so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
And that's it. If you found that useful, please share the podcast on with someone else. And if you have anything you'd like to say to me in response to it, you can email me, joe@musically.com. We also have a free weekly email called The Knowledge, which rounds up a soupçon of the best analysis, news, marketing insight, and skills from Music Ally's vast array of services. There's a link somewhere next to the podcast, so sign up and see if it helps you. That's it from me, Joe Sparrow, Music Ally's editor. Thank you very much for joining us as ever, and until next time, farewell.